that we take for granted, like chicken. Chicken is like filet mignon in jail back in the 80s.
I think it still is in prison. It's still like a filet
It's like
mignon.
filet mignon, man.
Yeah.
You see I had inmates almost get murdered over a small box of Frosted Flakes. You had to be somebody to get a box of Frosted Flakes.
Show it to that camera right there. Right here. Yeah.
You had to be somebody to get a box of Frosted Flakes. You understand me? You had to be somebody. A regular person, they're not getting the Frosted Flakes. This right here, back in the 80s, everybody know what I'm talking about. You get murdered over a little box of Frosties. This little box. I've done seen people get cut from ear to ear for this. Straight up, the littlest.
Yeah. I'd like to welcome everybody to my podcast. Yo, I am your gracious host, Jupiter 9, man. And we got to talk about this, guys. We got to talk about this, man. And I just can't believe that people continuously go in and out of prison, man. Now, I've never been to prison, but I was in the county for like almost 2 weeks, man. And my experience, for being in the county, it was hell. If hell has a place on earth, you know what I'm saying? It's any type of jail, prison. Listen, man, I don't care how much time you've done. I don't care if it's short, medium, or a lot of time. It doesn't matter. If you spend any time behind any type of bars where you can't move, your freedom is taken from you, it is imprinted on your brain for the rest of your life. For the life of me, I don't understand how dudes can go in and out of jail, you know what I'm saying, and be okay with that. And it was the most horrendous thing I had to experience. Not only is the food terrible, but the living conditions. Now, I don't know how the jails are here in Tennessee, but in Buffalo, the jails are awful. They're dirty. The COs play with you. You know what I'm saying? They hit you with all types of racial, they talk crazy to you racially. You know what I'm saying? Saying all types of stuff to you. And the food is just like the stuff they serve to you in jail is this even edible for even an animal? You know what I'm saying? Like, you just looked at it as like, they pretty much treat you like an animal. And it's just an awful experience, man. I remember when I was in the county for that little short period of time. And what I was in the county for wasn't even serious, you know what I'm saying? It was serious, but it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Me ending up in the county for almost 2 weeks was out of my frustrations of being homeless, man. Because, I was homeless for almost over a year at that time, you know what I'm saying? And just out of frustration, I started to, the police back home are very racist, you know what I'm saying? Buffalo, if you don't know anything about Buffalo, New York, upstate New York, is very racist, you know? So you got these people who work in these jails. These are generational families who work in these jails, you know what I'm saying? And not only is it racist, but, you got these families from generation to generation to generation that work in these jails. They're racist too, like, a lot of them, you know what I'm saying? So it's like a lose-lose situation, man. Like, you know what I mean? Jail in Buffalo is a horrible experience. So I never been to prison. Don't want to go to prison. You know what I'm saying? Don't look to go into prison. The things and the videos I've watched of people who did some serious time, long time. The stories I've heard. I don't want no part of prison, man. Like, you dig what I'm saying? For someone to lose their life over a box of cereal. Now, I've heard stories of guys, being raped in prison. This guy, I guess he was a CEO at one time, and the little bit of the stories I heard from him is like, his first day on the job, the stench and the smell of the jail was so bad that he almost threw up, and other CEOs who were there for longer than him, what I'm saying, because he was a rookie, you know what I mean? So, and this is Rikers Island, you know what I'm saying, in New York City, Rikers Island. He said the smell was so awful that it almost made him throw up and made him sick to his stomach. This is just the stench of butt and shit, basically. You know what I'm saying? And he said the smell was awful, man. And I can imagine, like, the way they treat inmates in prisons here, you know what I'm saying, in America, is downright, they treat them less than human, man. You know what I'm saying? Less than human. Now, I know a lot of these guys who are doing time, put themselves in there, but there's no rehabilitation when it comes to jail. And I always thought that you always get a second chance. If you make a mistake when you're young, I truly believe you have a right to a second chance and being able to get a job, be able to support yourself by being able to get hired for a job. You get a felony or something like that on your record, man, there's a great chance you won't be able to work. You know what I'm saying? Not unless you start your own business or something like that. A lot of people who did jail time got felonies, 1, 2, 3 felonies. You know what I'm saying? They start their own businesses because nobody will hire them. And America gives this impression that, America is all about second chances when it really is not. You end up in jail. You do some time, some serious time. You end up with certain things on your record. You won't get a job, man. You know what I'm saying? You won't get a job, or it's very, very hard to land a job. You know what I'm saying? So you pretty much got to take whatever you can get if you can get a job. You know what I'm saying? And I feel that's not right. You know what I mean? Because, a lot of times you're young and you're immature and you're a follower instead of being a leader. A lot of times when you're young, you're a follower. And you end up doing some stupid things when you're young, and society penalizes you for that. And a lot of times they will convict you as an adult when you're a child. You know what I mean? I think that's wrong too as well. You know what I'm saying? So, but when it comes to jail and the living conditions, me, when I was in the county, man, I didn't like the fact, number one, I didn't have no freedom. Number two, I got to ask somebody to take a shower and stuff like that. Like, know what I mean? 3, the food is horrible. I had rats running across my jail cell and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it was just an awful experience, man. It really was. It smelled. You know what I'm saying? Not to the magnitude of what that guy was talking about, but it was filthy. He had crap on the wall, and it was just like, yo, man, this is awful. I would never want anybody to do any jail time, not unless he's like he molested a child or he abused a woman. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, then you should do some jail time. You dig what I'm saying? If you harm the elderly, you know what I mean, or you defrauded somebody and you taking their savings, anything like that, yeah, you should do some jail time. You know what I'm saying? Anything racial, anything that had to do with racism, you know what I mean? You took somebody's life, you should do some jail time, definitely. But just little stuff like marijuana and stuff like that, like, know what I mean? I don't think you should be doing jail time for stuff like that. But it is, how can I put it? You really have to strip yourself of humanity when you enter into a prison. prison, and I watch like those reality shows where they have a group of people who are just regular civilians, and they have these programs where they have the regular civilians, and they like before they go into these prisons, the warden gets a group of these regular civilians to go into these jails and enter them into jail population so he can get data back from them on what they see, what they saw, you know what I'm saying, from their jails, and how they can run their jails a lot better. I think it's called what's the name of that show? Not Scared Straight. 60 Days In. That show. And it's crazy how they start off these group of civilians who are just regular everyday civilians. Some people are nurses. You got some people who used to be ex-cops. You know what I'm saying? Some people are college students. It's crazy how when they first go into jail that they're just their regular self trying to figure out things out and how the politics of jail go, and then 30 days in, they become, a lot of them turned and adapted to their environment and became one of the inmates in a way. You know what I'm saying? That shit is wild. Like, that is crazy, yo, how your environment can change who you are as a person. You dig what I'm saying? And I watched this video too as well a while back, a long time ago, probably a couple years ago, the study they did, you know what I'm saying? And this is how they created the projects in the hood. This is how they came up with the concept of projects. They had these rats, you know what I'm saying, in a maze, these regular rats, you know what I mean? And they had a group of rats who had freedom to roam and do what they want, you know what I'm saying? Eat whenever they wanted, yada, yada, yada. Then they had another group of rats who were basically cramped into a space, given a little bit amount of food, and they were basically on top of each other. Now, this is how they came with the concept of projects. So the group of rats who were, had the most freedom, had the freedom to do whatever they want, this, that, and the third, over time, that group of rats began to learn new things, you know what I'm saying, and began to progress in a positive manner, right? So boom, long story short, the group of rats who were on top of each other, who were cramped up in a small space, who were given limited food, started to kill one another. Started to have the men rats started to not only kill each other, but they started having physical, I'm just gonna say physical relations with each other. You know what I'm saying? Based on their environment. So how wild is that? It makes you think about the projects and how the projects are so crazy and wild, and how people, you know what I'm saying, in these environments where they're on top of each other, how, these people are losing their life and succumbing to gang violence and joining gangs and stuff like that. A lot of these things have to do with them testing these things out in science experiments before they actually make it a reality. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, it's like, I always tell people, man, if you're on any type of public assistance or welfare, man, don't stay on that stuff, because all that stuff is a trap. Housing, project housing and all that stuff is a trap to keep you there. You know what I'm saying? And what's so crazy about project housing, this can go on from generation to generation. You know what I'm saying? Just like with, a lot of these jails in upstate New York, how generation after generation, these CEOs is passed down these jobs, opportunities. The same thing goes with these housing projects. These things are passed down from generation to generation to generation. And with these projects and these housing, the way the housing is structured, it not only stunts your growth as an adult, but it stunts your growth in your progression. So now you're not thinking about, buying land or owning a home, you know what I'm saying? Which a lot of experts say owning a home is like it could be your biggest asset financially because you can borrow it against it. So you're not thinking about, moving out, getting a job, you know what I'm saying? You're just completely stuck in this war zone called the projects. You know what I mean? And, as a kid, I grew up in the Fruit Belt projects back home on Orange Street. And when it first started out, it was people kept up their property and all this good stuff. You know what I'm saying? People didn't really try to stay in these things. It was just a bridge to get you to the next point. You know what I'm saying? If you fell down on hard times, this, that, and the third, you know what I'm saying? It was just a bridge, but now it's becoming a crutch. These things, welfare, projects, and all this stuff, man, it's a crutch now. But I know I got off topic, but it's definitely in the same area of what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? But again, projects, prisons are the same thing. It's just that with the projects, you get a little bit more freedom. But that's crazy how they had to study with the rats first before they even came up with the concept of a project. And if you think about it, what is a project? It's a science study. So, yeah, man, being in prison is not the way to go, guys. Young people, if you're listening, being in prison is not the way to go. Get yourself a trade. If you're not going to get yourself a trade, become a content creator, man. You know what I'm saying? Stay out the gangs. Stay out of prison. There's no... You're just throwing your life away, man. And I don't think these young people understand the magnitude of what they're doing when they take that gun out their pocket and you take somebody's life. There's some consequences that come with that. And I really don't think they get the understanding of that. You know what I'm saying? So young people, man, stop following people. Stop following the crowd. Become a leader. You know what I'm saying? Do something constructive with your life. Do not waste your life in prison, jail. It's not the way to go. Get out the streets. The streets is over with. The streets has been over with. You dig what I'm saying? The streets is over with. And don't let these rappers and entertainers influence you to continue doing the things you're doing. There's so many things you could be doing positively that can keep you from going to jail. There's so many opportunities out here. I wish these opportunities were around when I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? But young people, stay out of jail, man. Jail is not the way to go. When you can lose your life over a box of cereal, do you really want to be in a place like that? Or be in a place to where you can lose your manhood? Do you really want to be in a place like that? Think about it, young people. Seriously. Stay out of jail. But yo, that's my take in this podcast episode. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. Please subscribe to the channel. And please share this with everybody, man, to help my podcast grow, guys. That's my take. I am your gracious host, Jupiter 9. And I just want to say peace and love to everybody. Take care. One.